For me, guys, just to open up in terms of what happened this week, right? It was quite interesting. In terms of the type of properties that we are investing in. Man, we've been looking at the commercial space. It's really interesting how the commercial space is, because there was a mall in our area whereby that mall wasn't so developed and nobody wanted to really touch that mall. And somebody came through, and what they did is that, yes, they cleaned up everything, and then they managed to actually get a contract with its KFC.
And also Chicken Licken.
And now it's crazy when you're looking at the traffic in that area, because Pedro's and all of these guys are coming in. So it's quite interesting when it comes to being a visionary and being in property, because if you don't have that eye, you're not going to see the opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, I've lived there for my whole life, and I didn't think that place was an opportunity. There was opportunity there. Even when it comes to flip. I mean, when we're flipping a property, myself and Levo, is that you find the neighbors will be like, but why did you buy that property? Like, nobody wants to touch that property. As soon as you're done with it, they'll be like, sure, gents, are we shocked? We didn't think that you guys are capable of turning such into a diamond. So again, it becomes, in terms of, and property investing is not just you having money, it's also you being a visionary. And sometimes you might get it wrong, because you might buy a space and think that you're going to turn it into commercial, only to find out that there's no traffic.
Right. No, that's the situation, man. That's the situation. And now we were always thinking of how do we flip properties. Now you're thinking that how do you flip malls, bro? Because there are some malls whereby you see that this mall isn't really in good standard. However, it's in the right location and it could actually bring you a lot of results. Now the question is, how do you get that mall to become at the standards that you want it to be, and even surpass that, so that if you do actually want to sell it as time goes on, then you know that you can actually sell it. Because now I was also thinking that if I'm purchasing a mall, right, that doesn't have your prominent
is this your center, Jan?
Yeah. Your center. Yeah. You have your center, it doesn't have your prominent shops,
yeah.
Right? But now you have the capital to actually have franchise, to buy into a franchise. That makes it easier for you to actually get traffic as much as possible, right? Like the one that Neo just said right now. The way they attracted people is that they're going to be putting in there's a spa, there's Chicken Licken, and then there's also KFC.
Yeah.
Now, if you have those three, those are the ones that are pulling people. Now, you're telling me that other brands won't want to actually put in their office or their shop in that area. They would, man, because now there's a lot of traffic coming in, and now why wouldn't I want to actually purchase or rent out a place here?
And it's quite interesting that when we're speaking about such, I remember once upon a time in our life, the only thing that we knew when it came to property investing, of course, you're looking at your uncles or your grandmothers or your grandpaps owning rooms, right? And at that point, you're not even thinking, what is commercial?
Yeah.
Now you get to grow, you get to understand. Like, even with flipping, I didn't think that I would be responsible for buying a house that's distressed, start it, and then make sure that we sell it. I thought that this was out of reach. And right now, for the fact that we are speaking about commercial in terms of how do we tap into commercial spaces, it's mind-blowing, bro. It's mind-blowing, man. I really can't wait in terms of what the future has, because at the end of the day, I think what really keeps us growing, number one, is that we are hungry when it comes to the knowledge. Number two is that we are not afraid to reach out to people in terms of saying that, let's just say that we know someone is in a certain space, that how can we learn from that? And a lot of people now deprive themselves from that because they want to do it alone. So you find out that the whole 30 years, you just been thinking about rooms. And now, whose fault is it, if we are to be honest?
It's your fault, because you're not exposing yourself. You're not placing yourselves in situations whereby you could actually learn.
Yeah.
Now, the place that I like, man, that really does actually foster that thing is auctions.
Yeah.
Going to auctions will always put you in a situation where
Even if you're not buying.
Even if you're not buying, you can just go to an auction and have a chat with with people that actually came to the auction.
Yeah.
Remember, people that come to auctions are not your normal people that are just coming to view properties. They are property investors and they want to purchase properties. Now, if you're learning from those people, man, it makes it easier for you on that journey. That how do I actually stretch my mind? How do I think outside the box and not what I have actually been always thinking about?
Yeah.
I remember there was someone that was saying, I'm going to go all motivational on you right now. There was someone saying that the sky is the limit, and then think beyond your imagination. Guys, let's really think about this. If you're only exposed to something,
Yeah.
it's hard for you to think beyond that particular thing, right?
100%.
So let's just use colors, because I don't want to be offending people. Let's say if I was only exposed to red, right? And someone is saying that think beyond red. It's hard for me to think beyond red. I can't really phantom me thinking something beyond red, right? But now, if someone introduces a different color to me, it then becomes, oh, okay,
Yeah.
there's purple. Oh, there's also blue. I can actually mix these two and actually make it the same color. It's the same thing with property investing, that
Yeah.
if you are only exposed to rental or rental back room, right, that might be a good strategy. However, there are other strategies. I mean, there's doctors that are buying hospitals, bro, together, collectively, as a joint venture.
That one is a topic for another day.
As
That
a
one-
joint venture.
That's powerful what those guys are doing, man. Yo, I was inspired, man.
No, but we'll speak about it some other day, right? But now you can see what types or what people are actually doing
Yeah.
within the property sector. But now the only time you'll realize what they're doing is if you yourself put yourself in that situation to really understand. Because as a normal person, man, I'm just going to a mall. I'm not thinking property investing.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking these guys are actually renting.
Yeah.
I'm not knowing. Like right now, if you were to give me a mall and say that how much do you rent out the mall, how much do you rent out each shop with, it's going to be hard for me to tell you.
Yeah.
However, if I'm exposing myself to people that own malls, they'll be able to tell me. So it's the same thing with you guys, that guys, put yourselves in situations whereby you're going to be able to learn more and learn from different people, which is a good cue to actually say that on the 11th of November, remember guys, on the 11th of November, we are hosting a property investing network. I don't know how this came. It's a holistic. On the 11th of November, we're going to be hosting a property investing network, networking, right? So you're just going to be wearing your normal t-shirts, your shorts, and then let's come through together, have conversations about how do we invest as property investors. We're going to be having property investors. We're going to be having your attorneys, our attorneys that we're using. We're going to be having accountants
They'll
that are
also
going to
be
be
wearing
coming
shorts.
through. They'll also be wearing shorts.
Don't tell good time.
Is accountant. Yeah, like literally, you could be actually speaking to an accountant, and
Yeah.
it will be in Emerentia, right, in Johannesburg South. So if you are around Johannesburg, or if you can actually make your way to Johannesburg, make sure that you do come through.
Yeah.
It's on the 11th of November, 2023. We're having conversations about property investing. How do you put yourself in a situation whereby I'm going to actually elevate my property investing?
Yeah.
We just spoke right now about having a good network. Let's come through together and have conversations, man.
Man, that was last, right, before we actually jump on to another one again, guys. I like the conversation that we're having, that what is really property investing, because we did mention that someone might be looking at it just from one side, not also understanding there's also other sides towards it, right? Because even when you're looking at what I liked last year, we hosted a property workshop, is that we called someone, but this one was different. That one was more corporate. We're seated down. Lebo was wearing his tie that day. So we called a lady through who was speaking about the commercial space. Specifically, she was speaking about what's that, storage. Yo, guys, the storage business is it's interesting, hey, because now when you're looking at the storage place, I'll give you an example of Soweto. Now you find out that there's not so many storage places in Soweto, but then you go outside of Soweto in Rodiport, right there by the highway.
Yeah.
There's so many storage places. And then now the question again, if you don't really understand or expand your mind, you won't be asking yourself that why